Evan didn't want to go back to the abandoned house on Willow Creek Road. It sat alone at the edge of town, sinking into the soil like something trying to hide itself. Its windows were dark gaps, its porch sagged, and its walls were eaten by rot. The neighborhood kids used it as a dare, running up to the door before sprinting away, laughing. But Evan had always felt uneasy passing it, even before he understood why. When he was 11, he spent a stormy weekend at his grandmother's house with his cousins Jake and Lila. Bored and restless, Jake suggested hide and seek. Not in the house, not outside, but in the abandoned home across the field. "Bet none of you have the guts," he taunted. Evan wanted to say no, but he followed anyway. The field felt colder than usual as they crossed it, tall grass brushing their legs. The sky darkened with clouds and thunder murmured far away. Jake pushed the crooked front door open, and the smell of damp wood drifted out. Evan hesitated, but Lila nudged him. "Come on, let's just hide quick and leave." Inside, dust hung heavy in the air. Old furniture slumped in corners like tired bodies. Wallpaper peeled in strips that curled like fingers. The whole place felt like it was holding its breath. Jake clapped his hands together. "I'll count. You to hide. First one I find loses." He closed his eyes and began counting loudly. 1, 2, 3. Lila grabbed Evan's wrist and pulled him toward the staircase. The steps whined as they climbed. Upstairs, the hallway stretched long and dim, lined with closed doors. "Let's hide here," she whispered, slipping into a room near the end. Moonlight leaked through a cracked window. The only piece of furniture was a tall wooden wardrobe crooked against the far wall. Evan's stomach twisted. "No way. Not in there. It's perfect," Lila insisted. Before he could argue, she pulled the wardrobe door open. It was surprisingly spacious inside, though it smelled like dust and old coats. She motioned him in. Thunder cracked outside, and Evan reluctantly stepped in with her, closing the doors until only a thin strip of light peeked through. Downstairs, Jake's footsteps echoed as he shouted, "Ready or not, here I come." The wardrobe felt warmer than it should have, the air dense, like something had been breathing there recently. Evan held his breath. Jake moved from room to room on the first floor, opening and slamming doors as he searched. The sound of his footsteps on the stairs made Evan stiffen. Jake walked into the room. His shadow stretched across the floor through the wardrobe crack. He wandered to the window, to the opposite wall, then turned toward the wardrobe. Lila's hand squeezed Evan's arm. Before Jake could reach the wardrobe, a knock echoed from the end of the hallway. Soft, deliberate. Evan saw Jake whip around. "Very funny," he muttered. "You guys trying to scare me?" The knock came again, slow, rhythmic. Jake stepped out of the room. "Lila. Evan." He called. Silence. A moment later, Jake's voice cut off entirely. No footsteps. No movement. Just stillness. Lila leaned toward the wardrobe door. "Jake," she whispered. Evan shook his head quickly. "Don't." Something felt wrong in a way he couldn't explain.
House.
The house was too quiet. Then, from the hallway, footsteps began approaching. But they weren't Jake's. These were heavier, uneven, dragging slightly as if one leg didn't work right. They stopped right outside the room. The doorknob squeaked. The door opened slowly. Evan saw a shadow move across the sliver of hallway visible through the wardrobe crack. At first it looked vaguely human, thin, but there was something distorted about the way it stood, like its joints bent the wrong way. It stepped into the room with a slow, deliberate gait. It turned toward the wardrobe. The breathing started deep, heavy, almost wet. Evan felt every breath vibrate through the thin wooden doors. Lila pressed her face into his shoulder, trembling. The creature took one step closer. Then a crash exploded from downstairs. Something slammed into a wall hard enough to shake dust from the ceiling. A second crash, a third. The creature jerked its head toward the noise, then bolted out of the room, its footsteps uneven but fast, disturbingly fast. Evan pulled the wardrobe doors open and grabbed Lila's hand. "Run." They sprinted into the hall. Something roared downstairs, low, furious, animalistic. Furniture toppled, wood splintered. Evan and Lila reached the stairs but froze. Whatever was down there was blocking the way out. "This room," Evan whispered, pulling her into a bedroom with a cracked window. Thankfully, the frame was loose. He shoved it upward, and rain blew in as wind howled. Lila climbed out onto the slanted roof, Evan right behind her. Behind them, footsteps charged down the hallway, impossibly fast. The bedroom door shuddered violently. Evan didn't look back. He slid off the roof, hitting the ground hard. Lila landed beside him, and together they ran across the field, soaked with rain and shaking. When they burst into their grandmother's house, gasping, she stared at them in shock. Behind them, the abandoned home stood silent in the storm. Jake never came out. The police searched for days, but there was no trace, no footprints, no signs of struggle. Not even dust disturbed, except for the wardrobe doors still swinging slightly, as if someone or something had touched them. Years later, Evan still hears it sometimes. Late at night when the wind outside is quiet and the house is still, a slow, heavy breathing starts just outside his bedroom door. And every time, he wonders one thing: is it the creature